It was a normal day in Paradise, California. My friends and I were enjoying a picnic at the park, when we noticed a plume of smoke rising from the hills. We didn't think much of it at first, but soon we realized it was getting closer and bigger. We heard sirens and helicopters, and saw people running to their cars. We decided to pack up and leave too, but it was too late. The fire had reached the town, and the roads were blocked by flames and fallen trees. We were trapped. We had no choice but to abandon our car and run for our lives. We grabbed whatever we could. Our phones, our wallets, our water bottles. We followed a group of people who seemed to know where they were going. They led us to a reservoir near Lake Concau, where we hoped to find safety. But the fire was faster than us. It reached the shore and set the reeds on fire. We could feel the heat and the smoke choking us. We had nowhere else to go. We jumped into the water and swam as far as we could. The water was cold and murky, but it was better than burning alive. We saw a small island in the middle of the reservoir, and we headed towards it. We reached it after what felt like an eternity, but we were not alone. There were other people there, some with burns and injuries, some with pets and children. We huddled together and prayed for help. We waited for hours on that island, watching the fire rage around us. We could hear explosions and screams, and we wondered if anyone would come to rescue us. We tried to call 911, but there was no signal. We felt hopeless and helpless. But then, we saw a miracle. A rowboat appeared on the horizon, with 2 men on board. They were neighbors who lived nearby, and they had seen us from their house. They had risked their lives to come and get us. They told us to get on the boat, and they would take us to safety. They said they had made several trips already, saving as many people as they could. We got on the boat, one by one, leaving behind everything we had except our lives. The boat was crowded and unstable, but we didn't care. We thanked the men profusely, and they smiled and said they were glad to help. They took us to the other side of the lake, where there were ambulances and firefighters waiting for us. They checked our vital signs and gave us blankets and water. They told us we were lucky to be alive. We survived the fire that day, but we lost everything else. Our home, our belongings, our memories. The fire destroyed most of Paradise, killing 86 people and displacing thousands more. It was the deadliest wildfire in California's history, and one of the worst disasters in U.S. history. But we also gained something that day. A new appreciation for life, a new sense of gratitude, a new bond with our fellow survivors. We learned that in times of crisis, people can be heroes, risking their own lives to save others. We learned that nature can be both beautiful and terrifying, creating life and destroying it in an instant. We learned that we are stronger than we think, capable of enduring unimaginable hardships. We are still recovering from that day, physically and emotionally. We are still trying to rebuild our lives, piece by piece. But we will never forget what happened that day. How we escaped the fire behind us. We faced many challenges and dangers as we tried to escape the fire behind us. The fire was spreading fast and we had to run for our lives. We had no time to pack our belongings or take our pets with us. We had to leave everything behind and hope for the best. The smoke was thick and choking. We could barely see where we were going. We had to cover our mouths and noses with wet cloths to breathe. We also had to avoid the burning debris and fallen trees that blocked our path. We had to find a safe route to the nearest town. The heat was intense and unbearable. We felt like we were in an oven. We had to drink water constantly to stay hydrated. We also had to protect our skin from the sun and the flames. We wore hats, sunglasses, long sleeves, and pants. We also applied sunscreen and aloe vera gel to soothe our burns. The noise was deafening and terrifying. We could hear the roar of the fire, the crackle of the wood, the explosion of the gas tanks and the sirens of the emergency vehicles. We also heard the screams of the people and animals who were trapped or injured by the fire. We tried to block out the noise and focus on our survival. We overcame these challenges and dangers with courage, determination, and teamwork. We supported each other emotionally and physically. We encouraged each other to keep going and not give up. We shared our water, food, and supplies with each other. We also helped other people and animals who needed our assistance. We finally reached the town after several hours of walking. We were exhausted, dirty and injured, but we were alive. We were greeted by the firefighters, paramedics and volunteers who offered us shelter, medical care and comfort. We were grateful for their kindness and generosity. We survived the fire behind us, but we lost everything we had. We lost our home, our belongings, our pets and our memories. We also lost some of our friends and neighbors who did not make it out alive. We were devastated by the tragedy and trauma. But we did not lose hope. We decided to rebuild our lives from scratch. We joined a support group for fire survivors and received counseling and therapy. We also received donations and loans from various organizations and individuals who wanted to help us recover. We learned a lot from this experience. We learned to appreciate what we have and not take anything for granted. We learned to be resilient and adaptable in the face of adversity. We learned to be compassionate and generous towards others who are suffering. We also learned to be grateful for being alive.